Yo, yo, yo. It's D.Arthur in the building. I'm talking to you guys today about, can women sense if you've relapsed? And can you still pull an attractive woman if you relapse? When you go on semen retention, a man who is on semen retention and a man who isn't on semen retention, there's a humongous difference. There's a big difference, and this is coming from first-hand experience. There's some people who think that if you retain, there's no difference between if you retain and if you relapse. And what I'm here to tell you is actually, yes, there is. If a man who's on, let's say, a longer day of semen retention, and a man who's relapsed, meaning he fapped, if he's fapped, then by all means there is going to be a big difference. And these are subtle differences. These are differences that aren't very noticeable to the eye, but the subconscious picks up on it like white on rice. It picks up on it very keenly. And especially if we're dealing with women, then they can pick up on it like the back of their hand. They know certain things. Because the thing is, if you've relapsed, meaning you spilled your nut and you fapped and you're on PMO, even if you're on PMO, even if you haven't relapsed but you're on PMO, what's gonna happen is you think everything is normal, you think you're still doing your thing, blah blah blah. But if you're dealing with a woman, you're gonna be everything that you do is gonna be precisely off, just a little bit off. The oomph, the zest isn't gonna be there as much. The aura, the oomph, the conviction, the certainty, it's not gonna be there as much. You're gonna be a little bit uncertain if you relapse. You're gonna be just a little bit uncertain. You're gonna care a little bit too much. You're gonna overthink a little bit too much. You're gonna think you're gonna have too much of a bad consciousness and a bad aura if you've relapsed if you relapse recently and you're dealing with a woman. People think like none of this matters, but it kind of does. It does, to the point where it's not picked up by the conscious mind. It's picked up by the subconscious. The subconscious is literally the most powerful part of your brain. It literally dictates 85% of your reality. The subconscious knows everything. It records everything. And your subconscious records what you do in the dark. It records what you do. So if you're not living an honest life, you're gonna get exposed sooner or later. Everybody thinks like this is just some sort of joke, blah blah blah. You relapse, you start again, blah blah blah, da da da. You go back and forth. But the thing is, if you really want to transcend to a better, to an aura of greatness in your life where no one expected to you be, then everything that you have to do must be done with intention and purpose and meaning. So there really is no room to relapse. You have to get to a point where there's no point for you to do it anyways. Like, you're already kind of full, you're already working on things that there would be literally no point for you to want to do it. This is the point where you have to reach. Like I said, people don't think that people can pick up on this. And especially if we're dealing with women are keen on very, very subtle things. They kind of know everything. They kind of know if you're reaching. They kind of know if you're too needy. They kind of know if you're too needy, too dependent on them. And as soon as they sniff that dependency and that trying to buy or trying to get her into trying to basically get right with her by not being yourself, they can pick up on it very, very easily. Their intuition is very, very dynamic. So you have to live an honest life, because when you relapse, you're gonna second guess a little bit. You're gonna have low vibrational thoughts. You're just not gonna be as confident. There is a correlation between picking up attractive women and not relapsing, because if you use that energy to pick up the woman, then you've won. But if you relapse and then you've done it, you're just going to be a centimeter off. You're going to be a centimeter off. your voice may not be there. Your eye contact may not be there. You may look down at her when you're talking to her. You might be scared of her. These are all things that matter. So can a woman pick up on can a woman pick up if you've relapsed recently when you're dealing with her? And to the point, yes. And it really doesn't have anything to do with her. It has all the power to do with you, because your confidence may not be there. You still may be confident, but you might not be 100% as compared to somebody who hasn't relapsed and has been putting in work consistently. A man who hasn't been putting in the work needs to use outside things to try to court the woman. They need to use tangible things. I got a yacht, I got a car, I got a this, and that. But the man who puts in work, who's retaining, who's intentional about his life, who's living a purpose-filled life, doesn't have to show her all the exterior things. Those are things that come when she starts learning about him, and really has to open with just being the person who he is and how charismatic he is. If the difference is your charisma has shot through the roof when you're on retention. The thing is, some of the things that you start coming up with and how you start acting aren't even from you. They're gifts. They're nudges and gifts from the Most High, and they're little confidence boosters to help you pick up attractive woman, just because you've utilized your sexual energy to its fullest potential. And your sexual energy is pretty important. If it's so important that it literally can help you court any person you want. You don't have to show off in order to pick her up. You can literally, if you're talking to her, you can literally just be yourself, be charismatic, ask her questions, look at her in a bit of a very maybe dynamic way, and she'll pick up on this. But the thing is, in order to let's say be playful with her, you have to put in the work. Because a man who hasn't put in the work and it tries to be playful with her, it's not going to work as precisely, because there's something that he hasn't done that can give him the excuse to do things like that. And that makes sense. So yeah, can a woman pick up if you've relapsed? And like I said, it has nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with you. You might start asking her a question if you relapse, and instead of saying it with full confidence, you might nasal your voice. There's these things called voice inflections. It goes like this. If you ask her a question and by the end of the question your voice raises up a little bit, you have a voice inflection that raises up a little bit, then that's not as convincing as somebody who asked a question but says it when their voice tends to go down by the end of the question. Search this up. This is very, very powerful. A person who has a voice inflection that goes down is a little bit more convincing than a person who asks a question but his voice goes up. His voice goes up when he asks a question. All of these small things matter, and all of these small things will start manifesting themselves to you if you've retained. All the small things that you've done will matter eventually, and all the small things that you didn't do will matter eventually. So you cannot say that she won't pick up on your energy when if you've relapsed, because people are saying that if you relapse you can still be as confident as a man who has retained. And I'm here to say that no, you can't. It's not you can still be confident, but I'm saying to the most pristine type of confidence where you have no doubt in your mind about anything. This is the type of confidence that you need to have if you're dealing with a very attractive, let's say, woman, because they're used to guys throwing themselves at her, and the man who is done everything right usually is the person who tends to win. So yeah, she can pick up if you've relapsed, and she's definitely not gonna know if you've relapsed or not, but she's going to know how confident you are just by the way you act. The way you act pretty much is the difference. The way you act is literally the difference between you picking her up and she effing with you and you not. You gotta do all the dirty work first so you can be very confident in the interaction. And the more confident you are in the interaction, the better chance you have of attracting her. This goes down to it. So yeah, woman can sense if you relapse or not, and not by them. It's all about how you act during the interaction. That's all it is. Stop being too serious. Get a little playful. Put in some work so you can tease her and not be afraid of teasing her. And this is pretty much how it is. It's called content-free conversation banter. If you can utilize this skill properly, then you can get any woman you want. You can get anything you want out of life. So yeah, because the thing is, a lot of guys were saying how it doesn't matter if you relapse or not. If you're still confident in their interaction, you can still get her. And that's true, but all I'm saying is you're not going to be as confident if you've relapsed. You're not going to be as confident. Everything has to be precise in order for you to court her, basically. So it all matters. These are all things that are intangible and not visible to the eye, but the subconscious picks up on it easily. How you walk, how you talk, how you interact with her, all matter when you're trying to attract her. And you will get a better result if you retain and put in consistent work and meditate on don't overthink as much. So yeah, like, comment, and subscribe below. We'll see you in the next video.